2018 AP Macro FRQ looks like an unemployment question, little comparative advantage for A. Let's just see if we can jump our way into it. For number A, country X takes 1 hour to produce a unit of consumer goods and 2 hours to produce a unit of capital goods. Now, because it's saying a unit of capital goods and a unit of consumer goods, that lets me know it's an input problem. What is going into this production of this consumer good is 1 hour. What's going into the production of this capital good is 2 hours to produce. What's coming out of this production is 1 unit of consumer and 1 unit of capital. These lets us know they're an input problem. Before you do any comparative advantage problems, you better know whether they're input or output problems, or you're going to do them backwards. So all kinds of teachers teach this in different ways to do it. I'm just going to do my way because I'm like a child. I have to do the same thing every time. I'm going to put the countries or the people on the left, and I'm going to do goods on the top. So I'll do consumer goods here, capital goods here, right? So 1 hour to produce a consumer good, 2 hours to produce capital. Y can do 2 and 4, I think. 2 hours for consumers, 4 hours for capital, 2 and 4. Now, because it's an input problem, we're going to do our math under. Inputs are under, so we put the 2 under the 1, we put the 1 under the 2, 4 under the 2, 2 under the 4. Now we just do our math. 1 over 2 is 0.5. Obviously, 2 over 1 is 2. 2 over 4 is 0.5. 4 over 2 is 2. Then we're going to look in the columns like we always do. And we can see that the opportunity cost is the same for not only X, but Y for consumer goods. And then we look in the column over here for capital goods, and we can see that 2 is the opportunity cost. They are the same. There's no reason for these guys to trade because their opportunity cost is the same or equal. Nobody would be gaining anything by trade because they have no comparative advantage. They give up the same amount of resources for every capital good produced. X gives up 2 consumer goods. For every capital good Y produces, he gives up 2 consumer goods. Nobody has a comparative advantage, so no comparative advantage here. We don't need to write it all out. And we would just explain that they have the same opportunity cost. Anyway, these are fairly simple to do. The terms of trade get a little more complicated, but this we could do this another way, which I like to do, called the quick and dirty method. If you watch, what is his name? Anyway, I didn't believe this the first time I saw it. I said, why have I not seen this before? It's been a long time. But let's do it here. 1 and 2, 2 and 4. It's an input problem. We know that. So you're looking for the lowest number. And you can quickly just cross multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4. 2 times 2 is 4. They are the same number. That implies nobody has the lowest opportunity cost. We'd have to be careful here, I think. But in this situation, very quickly, I like doing it this method. All right, let's move on. Following shows the labor market for country X. Calculate the unemployment rate in country X. So, first of all, you need a good definition of the unemployment rate. It is just unemployment over unemployment plus employment. Now, this is the same thing as saying the labor force. That helps to know that, right? Depending on how they give you the information. So, both of these are equal. We could say unemployment over the labor force, or we could say unemployment over unemployment plus employment. It looks like our employment here is 180. Unemployment is 20. So we've got 200. Here we go. Under 20. So it looks like we're at 10%. Can we see how we did that? Mostly this is not very complicated. It is just about having a nice definition in your head, because they're not going to give you the definition, so you have to know them. Participation rate, that is what we call our labor force. Labor force over civilian population. So we already know our labor force, right, was 200. And it looks like our civilian population is not in the labor force, employed and unemployed. So it looks like that's 300. Easy enough. So 66.7, 2/3, right? 2/3 there, so 66.7. Labor force. Again, not hard to figure out. Sometimes they play games with the words that make it a little more complicated, but just have a nice definition. You have to have this in your head to be able to use it effectively. Draw a correctly labeled graph of the PPC for country X with consumer goods on the horizontal. Capital goods up here. I'm going to draw, does it tell me? Doesn't matter. Straight line, curve, doesn't matter. I'm going to draw a curve just because that's what I'm used to. Indicate a point error graph labeled Z that reflects the current level of unemployment. Now, we have frictional and we have structural. Those two together are our natural rate of unemployment. We always have frictional and structural. Oops. But we also have cyclical. Anytime you have cyclical, you have a recession. Cyclical unemployment implies a recession. So we're just going to choose a spot in here, and we're going to label that Z, because that shows that we have some cyclical unemployment. If we only had frictional and structural, we'd be on the curve, right? That would be full employment right there. So since we have some cyclical, we know we've got to have some Z. All right, guys, that's it. Be safe. Take care. Let me know if I can help. Thanks. Bye.